Hello, ladies and gentlemen, CaptainShack here, and welcome back to Space Engineers. We're talking combat in space. Ignore the ship that I'm on. It's currently something that's in R&D. I might show you a little bit of it, but today I'm making a quick and dirty video about the Mag Cannon. I want to put to bed, put to rest the concept, the very idea that my beautiful baby Mag Cannon is in some way, some strange way, overpowered. It's not, and I'm going to prove it to you right now. All right, let's get into it. So let's take a look at some of the builds that we've got. So this is the current one. This is kind of an armored Mac design, maybe sorta. I'm still working with the weapon system, but I'll just give you a little sneak peek. Poke my head into here. Yeah, that's a Mac in there. That's a Mac. That's what it looks like when you try to armor up a Mac. It gets a little insane, but if we go, actually, let's go in order. The first Mac ship that I had brought to the tournament was the Big Iron, which was, I'm fairly sure, the smallest, if not second smallest ship in the tournament, and the first one to bring the Mac, because it was kind of a ridiculous idea. Yeah, it was a tournament with shields turned on, and the Mac was much smaller. That is a Mac in the current state that it is now. After that tournament, they changed the size to be literally 1 block longer than the ship that I had the Mac mounted in originally. If you see the little hole here in the front, in between my ion thrusters, it used to be where my gun was that I built the ship around. So this baby's been sadly retired. Sorry, Big Iron. Sorry. But there's the Mag Cannon, all by its lonesome. The green lights indicate that it is charged and ready to fire. They do actually cycle. There's a full animation process, which we'll get into. But let's look at the last tournament, the tournament we came in second place in. This is the Big Mac. Yeah, I kind of had to change the design a bit, and a little bit more toward the meta of that tournament, where the balance was at. This is a little bit more of an electronic warfare style craft. It's kind of silhouette tanks. That was the idea behind it. That means decoy blocks spread all over because decoy blocks became a thing. We didn't have shields, and we weren't confident point defense would work, so we needed something to mitigate what we knew would be the Grim Swarm, which sort of worked. I mean, it worked better than I thought it would. But there's only so much they can do, and there's so many scrims coming towards your face. Front towards enemy is not just a friendly reminder to Zoc to remember which way my ship faces up. It's also kind of the whole concept behind this ship. This is about as skinny as you can get with a Mag Cannon and have a functional vessel. Why? Well, the Mac requires a ton of power. And if you're gonna make it skinny, so if an enemy is looking at you barrel down, which they, probably will if you're trying to kill them, if you wanna make it so you're hard to hit, this is the way to do it. That's about as skinny as I could get with a couple of my own Grim launchers slapped to the sides. But anyways, I'm here to talk to you about balance. I'm here to talk to you about the Mag Cannon. Magnetic Accelerator Cannon, which is actually based on the Halo lore, by the way. That's where the concept for this comes, and if you haven't even noticed, if you look at some of the Halo 1, or was it Halo 2, that had the Mac animation, this actually is the same animation, and the sound effect is very, very, very similar. So what's the strengths and the weaknesses? Well, it's probably pretty obvious. The strength is, it's a big gun. It can shoot across the tournament map. It does about 45 kilometers, as I understand it, which the tournament is, if you see all the way over there, I can't really see it, but a 20-kilometer range, point to point inside the sphere for the tournament. But if you're playing and you're wanting to use this in, say, your survival map, which I believe it is actually survival ready. I think it does have build states. I've never tried. That's something to experiment with later on. I'll put a link to the actual mod if you want it for your game, but you can shoot really far. 45 kilometers is probably well beyond your render range. So you can potentially hit a target at that range. You probably never will go beyond, I would say, 25. Why? Well, let me jump in and I'll show you. But the strengths, they're real quick and easy to get through. Range, damage. The round does a this is in high-powered mode, which is the way you normally see me using it. A 1-by-1 block damage by infinity, meaning it'll just blow through a ship from point to point. Whatever the line is from point entrance to point exit, that's where that round is gonna go, doing damage to everything in between. That sounds like a lot of damage, and it sort of can be. We'll get into the weaknesses in a second. The other thing is accuracy. Depending on the rig you attach it to, it's super accurate. Now, that's it. That's the strengths of the Mag Cannon. Doesn't sound so bad, right? Well, let's get into its weaknesses. The first one is cost. The Mag Cannon for the tournament, if you're trying to do a balanced, fight, if you're using this in your own game, then you don't really have to worry about this so much. Actually, you kind of do in a different way. I take that back. you do have to worry about cost if you're playing survival mode. Let me get a welder out here so you guys can see. But in the tournament, this thing cost me about half of, actually, it cost me half of the value of the ship. Every weapon has a point cap. Yeah, even in survival, look at that. Look at that thing, 960 power cells. Now, I'm not knocking the mod author for adding that. I think that's actually not a bad spot for the resources to be in. But it's hugely expensive for survival mode if that's what you're trying to use it for, but also for point system in the tournament. And of course, this is gonna change. The tournament's being rebalanced with every single iteration. This may go up, this may go down, though I don't think they're actually gonna change this in this next week's version. But it's costly. Half of the weapons, right, that you could have. This thing was 200 and, it was 250 to build it? Yeah, it was 250, and the average player, if you've got a 4-player team, had 500 points to work with. For that cost, let me show you guys real quick, because I think this needs to be said. The realization, I'm gonna make a nice big little mounting wall here, and let's pull up 203s. I love these guns. I think their animation and their sound effect is wonderful. Let's see, you could have, for the same cost, the 203 runs for 110 points? No. They run for 11 points per. So, doing a quick math, totally not opening a calculator for this because I'm bad. Let's see. Matt Cannon goes for 250 in the last one. Now the 203 went for 11. You could have 22 of these battleship cannons. I'm not even gonna be able to paste enough of them in here. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to paste it at 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get at least 5. And then we'll just like row them up. For the same cost as one single Mac cannon. This is just one weapon system. It's not even the cheapest one either. Yep, nope, we're gonna keep going. So that's what, 20? And then add 2 more in there. 2 more, and you'd still have 7 points remaining. Yep. And that goes for just about all of the main, like, primary weapons, right? So for, say, the M8 launcher, their points, I think you could have, like, 15 of those freaking things for torpedoes. It's a little bit less than that because they were 45 points apiece, but you could still have a lot of torpedoes. And these are weapons they can target at pretty long ranges. They can track. You don't have to aim them. You just turn them on and basically forget about them until the target dies. Yeah, that's kind of a thing. So for the point value, very, very expensive. I'm not gonna go through all of the different variations of weapons you could potentially have, but that's what you're giving up. So cost, super expensive. Size, you're no longer gonna be small. As you can see, at least from the front end, it's not so bad, but from the side, you are a broad target that's easy to hit. And that's before you start adding in all of the reactors necessary to run this gun. And I am not running enough power on this rig currently with its current setup because of my last minute changes before the tournament, to actually run everything here. I max out power. So you're huge. Weight. They increased the weight. So now you're slow. You're gonna have slower acceleration, and because of the speed mods that we're using, and I do love these mods, I don't want to see them being removed or anything, but because of the relative speed versus weight, you're gonna have a lower top speed. All that sound, like, I'm not saying it's not reasonable, but you have to deal with all of this on top of the cost. Power draw. We're gonna fire it now. I know everybody's like, just shoot the thing, Shaq. I just want to see the big gun go boom. All right, well, let's do it. Let's jump in and give it a whack. All right, I'm in high-powered mode, which is probably the way you're gonna use it the first time. You're gonna stick it to high-powered mode. This is the hit scan version. That's the other strength with the accuracy I didn't talk about. It has hit scan ability, meaning, I don't actually have a camera on my bar, meaning that when you pull the trigger, once the round leaves the barrel, it instantly reaches the site that your indicator is on. There is no travel time for the round. So if I zoom in here, you can actually see I've set a couple of targets over there. That's my Voyager build on the left, and that little dot right, if I can get the damn cursor over it, that little dot right there is the big iron. Now, something has changed, or maybe it's because I'm not in a multiplayer server with a bunch of people, but one of the big weaknesses that I have listed on here is Space Engineer's really jittery camera movement. And part of me thinks that they've removed the increased camera zoom, and that has removed a bug, because now I can actually move my camera very smoothly. But if you watch my footage from the tournament, it is jittering and freezing up as if I'm running at 5 frames a second as soon as I try to go into any kind of detailed movement. Anywho, the big deal, the one we're talking about, is power draw. Let's fire this thing off. I'm gonna try to hit Voyager here. All right, here it goes. Switching to click to fire on. Turn off the UI so we can see this 20-kilometer range shot. 3, 2, 1, go. Boom. The round is out, and that most likely hit, and it went right through the ship. Now, did it hit anything important? I have no idea. Now, some people derided me in the tournament for not firing at small targets. Well, as I said, I was lagging like crazy with a mouse, and you probably will be too if you're playing multiplayer. Unless this is the new map, right? Unless this has been fixed, but you're gonna have a lot of trouble trying to get onto one target. And here's the deal. Unless you're cheating, you shouldn't be pulling the trigger until after the word go pops up on the tournament. On the second the word go is mentioned, when you pull the trigger, listen to the shot. I'm gonna pull the trigger now. 1, 2, fire. There's the shot. There's a 2-second delay. That is enough time for smaller vessels easily, and even some larger ones, to just move out of the way of that shot. And it's very hard to keep your tracking on target before you can hit. So keep that in mind if you're gonna use the Mac. That beginning shot, I was firing a shot right after the word go. I would wait till I pull the trigger on go. 3, 2, 1, go. Pull trigger. 2 seconds later, round comes out. I may have hit some target. But the other issue is power draw. If you noticed, some of you may have been a little eagle-eyed. I'll fire again. And this time, I'll actually put the spectator camera over there so you can see where the round lands. Let's zoom on over. Here we go. Let's see if did I put a hole in it? I did. Oh yeah, I put a nice hole in it right here. Right there, went all the way through. And you know what I managed to take out? Not a damn thing. It went right through the hull, right past every major block, and didn't hit anything important. Keep in mind, that's not a completed ship. It's not outfitted for tournament play. I just threw it in here, but it didn't hit a damn thing, which is a little sad. Oh well. I even put a couple of reactors in the back to see if we might be able to bullseye one, and see that 1x1 accuracy kind of screws you over. I missed them. I missed those reactors. They're just fine. This ship would continue to fight and fly without any issues. So your capabilities are going to spike up and down. But you will notice, let's fire it again. And here it comes. There's the shot. That one, ooh, that one's way better. Right through the deflector dish, all the way out through the back. Wait, did I not hit any? Because there's no reactors down here. I think I hit a thruster. I might have hit a reactor, actually. There might have been a mirrored reactor on this side, and I might have managed to take it out. Yeah, maybe. But you notice, I'll fire again once it's recharged. I think it has recharged. Here it comes. What the heck? It just hit me? Oh no, we walked outside the arena. Ah! We didn't actually walk outside the arena. What ended up happening was we got kicked into the arena. Kicked out of the arena by the kick. The kick on that thing is pretty... I'll go ahead and just delete it. Pretty monstrous. Turn that down a bit. It's pretty monstrous, and it will throw your aim off hard. Let's spawn another one in here. But you'll notice in the bottom right-hand corner, when I had fired that one, the power spike. It's because the weapon has to recharge, and it's going to suck your batteries dry, or it's going to run your reactor to 100%, meaning you're going to lose maneuverability. Your point defenses are probably going to turn off if you're using energy-based ones. You're going to have a lot of problems, because losing your power like that is... You found a Big Mac. They've added the radar mod in, which is kind of interesting. Gonna have to mess around with that some later this week. But yeah, let me fire it again. High-powered shot. There's the round. I love the animation for it. Boom. Look at how far we've flown backwards. I actually have to kick on my engines to push us away from the wall there. While the arena's closing in on you, that could be a real big problem. But notice, 100%. It's worn off, but I don't think we've recharged. We have not recharged yet. I'm pulling the trigger. It's weird that weapon core... Oh, it is showing it. Top right-hand corner in the radar. It shows my weapon recharging. There. He's recharged. He's ready to fire again. Boom. There's the shot. So, yeah. If you're not using any other power at all, your reactors are online, the recharge isn't horrific. It's pretty long. Like, your fire rate isn't great. So I'm going to put that in another negative category. You've got a really slow fire rate compared to a lot of the other weapon systems that are out there. We're still waiting for it to recharge. Now it's good to go. Now we can fire again. But once the match starts, you're not going to see people just sitting around waiting for you to shoot them. You're going to have to keep your indicator on them, and that gets difficult. That's where player skill comes in, and good and decent balanced gyro design, I would say. Having too many gyros will throw off your aim even worse. But if you're trying to run around, you're trying to dodge shots, and you're worried about maxing out your power, and then you're firing off the Mac. Yep, now I'm maxed out on power again. I feel like there may have been a little bit of balancing with the Mac. I feel like she's shooting a little bit faster than she was. Huh. Interesting. But those are some of the issues that you're going to run into. Power draw is pretty intense. And then the Space Engineer limitation of being zoomed in multiplayer and seeing it kind of jerk around. I'm hoping that this might have fixed it, actually, not having the extra camera zoom. Maybe they took that out, or maybe it's some issue with the old map and not in the new one. Now, because of the Mac's limitations, because of the cost of the Mac, do I recommend using it? Do I find it effective? Is it effective? Yes. Is it the most effective and probably the best thing that you can get with the points? And that's going to be up to you and your team if it's really worth it. I don't think it's necessary for every team, as we saw in the last tournament. I don't think it is the most valuable weapon by any means on a team. It can be really powerful. It has a spike in usability. If you get a lucky max shot off and you manage to take out 2 large reactor in somebody's ship right at the beginning of a match, or just a minute or 2 in, then you've kind of almost paid for the ship if it manages to cripple them. But at this point in the tournament, people learning how to build ships, they're kind of learning how to they're learning how to space their components, spread them out a bit. And it's going to be really hard to pull some shots like that off. Nobody wants to keep road components due to the chance that maybe they'll get hit with a Mac round, which is kind of cool. It's changing how we build stuff. But is it OP? I would say it's in a good spot. It's probably not the most useful thing because it's more balanced than some of the other weapons at this point, if that makes any sense. And when those weapons get more in line, fire! We'll find the Mac Cannon is going to be, I think, a little bit more useful. Now, a huge strength to this thing is if shields come back, because the Mac, its one job was to overwhelm shields in the lore for Halo, and it actually works in this. So if you hit a shielded target with a Mac round, you will deplete its shield immediately. It's almost worth it for the teams to maybe listen out for the Mac shot when it fires. Watch for the animation of the round flying through the map, and then turn their shields back on at that point. That way they don't just lose their entire capacity for shields. I don't know, there could be a meta there. There could be a strategy there for kind of manipulating your shields. I'm not so sure if I'd be able to keep my awareness that high all the time. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. Maybe that's a way to do it. That strength, though, if they bring shields back, the Mac will have a interesting place, depending on how shields return in the tournament. I will just leave it like that. All right, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel for more sci-fi gaming, modding goodness. Let me know what you guys think about the Mac and how you would use it. I look forward to reading your comments. I'll see you next time. Give him the gun! Bam! Those pistons. I wonder if those pistons are having like a dampening effect on the shot, right? Because they're a subgrid. So as soon as this grid moves, that one has to react. Maybe it's some kind of like... I had this theory when I was building it, and I wasn't sure if it made any kind of difference. Some kind of compensator at the end of the barrel of my sniper rifle. Because I definitely noticed that the kick wasn't nearly as bad, but coming from the big iron, that's not surprising. Anyways, see you in the next one. Later, everybody.